More than 50 workers were working on the site. So the Diwanjini Haveli is a huge wooden structure, and essentially the Havelis of Ahmedabad, they are made from brick and lime masonry and a composition of wooden structure. So there were various things to be done. Most of the wooden Havelis of Ahmedabad are damaged because the roof leaks fast. So we first dealt with the roof. Also, because of the water seepage, a lot of wooden columns were sapped. So the entire Haveli had lost levels. So the leveling the Haveli with a lot of jacks was a lot of mechanical work. So we had the entire site jacked up and leveled. Then unloading the Haveli was another important thing. We worked on the Taka, we restored the Taka, and today the Taka is active. And now our entire plumbing system is active and the Taka is being used as a reservoir.
So Diwanjini Haveli was restored with a huge investment of capital, expertise and quality time.
And by the end of 2012, we were almost done and the restoration of our Haveli was ready. We painted it and we stood with the building proud.
Diwanjini Haveli became the office of City Heritage Centre. It gradually became the hub of heritage activities in the old city. An upswing in the economy of the country led to a real estate boom. Rajiv's company pumped the profits from the real estate business into the restoration work of the Haveli.
We must have spent more than probably 8 times our purchase price to restore this property.
In fact, we have. It was actually not a question of money at the time, but the enthusiasm was so high. So we think that let's start something new.
Yeah. So as the restoration is over and our investment is almost 2 crores. Now the question is that what is the return on investment? We are by now convinced and determined that this is not going to be a hotel, it's going to be a cultural center. But for us to create a return on a cultural center is something new, we have never done it. So it looks apparently that if I had put 2 crore rupees in a real estate asset, then at least 10-12% could be a good return to expect. So how do I make 20 lakh rupees, 25 lakh rupees from a cultural center with 10,000 square feet space? I bumped into the ICIC, Michael Porter's NGO in Boston, Initiative for a Competitive Inner City, and that grabbed my attention because the American inner cities had a lot of similar things with the Indian inner cities. And I started constructing things around that.
Thus, Rajiv and his colleagues started working on the value chain of heritage. The purpose of the value chain is to make people realize the wisdom of investing in heritage. New money had to pour in old Ahmedabad through small contributions and big investments. The small contributions formed the base of the pyramid, the foundation of the value chain. The heritage walks proved to be the most effective way of bringing more and more people into the old city. In addition to the existing heritage walks, the Jain Heritage Walk was designed by the Jain International Trade Organization. The walk begins from the City Heritage Centre courtyard after a traditional Gujarati breakfast.
Ahmedabad in fact has several Jain temples, and the real fact is most of the city development is not done by any king of the city, but the association, the Mahajans of the city. So a lot of Jain temples were built up several years back, and typically, as everyone knows, religious and Jain association, they've done a lot of cultural activities and development of the city also. This Jain walk, which actually starts from our Haveli, Divanji Ki Haveli, takes you on a walk of almost 2 kilometers, and we take almost 2 hours to complete this walk. And we take you to roughly 31 Jain temples. In fact, the old city itself has more than 150 Jain temples, but we've selected a few 31 Jain temples which are roughly 100 years to 150 years old. And a couple of temples are even 400 years old in this route. We have a professional guide who really takes you to every small lane of this old city.
हर पोल एक किला बन है। आज भी अगर दरवाजा बंद कर दिया तो आप कहीं भी उसमें घुस नहीं सकते हैं।
So our target is let more and more people come and participate in this walk. It should be on the map of Gujarat tourism. It should be on the map of Indian tourism. I really look forward that a lot of people participate in this Jain walk gradually.
Purpose of this Jain Heritage Walk is to get people to the old city and appreciate the heritage, and that way we are creating awareness. So similarly, the other walks, we are trying to create a strategy to meet our target of 100,000 people to the old city of Ahmedabad. So right now I'm standing here is the courtyard, which is going to be the performance area. We already had trials of piano recitals, Indian music, dance. Okay. On the left is going to be the art gallery where we have already tied up with few art galleries and book launches. On the right, we are going to have an AV room where we are looking at various corporate events. A lot of corporate companies now are looking at having seminars in the old city. On the right down here, we are going to have a beautiful cafeteria. And on the top, we are going to have classrooms. And on the right hand side, we are going to have dormitories. So all this thing put together completes our economic model and revenue for our investment in the walled city of Ahmedabad.
The technical cell of City Heritage Centre is now well equipped to take on other restoration work. The Abhay Mangal Das Hotel is one such commissioned work. Work began in 2014. It will take about 2 years to open the hotel to the public. City Heritage Centre has just finished restoring a Haveli into a studio apartment. They have finished the work in a record time. Rajiv's wife Dipali has been the interior designer here.
Actually, this was the first project done by City Heritage Centre. So we just started, and they had faith in us, and with a very low budget, I entered helping with the layout, basic layout, how the bathroom should be placed, the room sizes and everything. And that is how we started the project.
To create a sense of openness, the roof above the central courtyard was pushed up by 2 floors. Traditional painters were employed to create eye-catching ethnic partitions.
This is a beautiful painting done on the canvas, and it's done by a local painter in the city. They have used almost natural dyes and colors to paint this, and even though we wash it in future, it will not fade. So this is a very cost effective and a very beautiful thing to hide what we have behind it. I'll just show it to you. This is the old jali of the other house, neighboring house, which is full of junk, and it has a AC outlet as well. But just to beautify our property and our ambience, we used this curtain just to roll out, and we just got it painted. So whenever we want to remove and wash it in future, we can remove and wash it also, it will not fade.
Working with heritage property does not always mean creating magic spaces. It also means getting involved in troublesome lawsuits.
This house was in a very dilapidated state, and if you see the old photographs, the facade was almost 30-40 degrees and going to fall down. And they had no money, so they came to us, to City Heritage Center, and they approached us.
Mr. Dattatreya Vyas was born in this house. His father, a renowned political activist, had taken it on rent more than 70 years back.
His father is Ravi Shankar Vyas, who was a very important person in RSS, and people like Narendra Modi, Balkrishna Advani, Atal Bihari, they used to come to his house in this old city.
Mr. Dattatreya Vyas's son and daughter also have roots in this house.
हम किराए पे रहते हैं, भाड़े पे, और ये मकान हमने लेने की कोशिश की 96 में। फ्रांस वाले जब भी आए थे तो लेने की कोशिश किया मैंने, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं थे, 2.5 लाख रुपया, तो इसलिए मकान मालिक ने बोला पूरा पैसा दे दो तो हम देंगे। बाद में ये जब यहाँ असामाजिक तत्व है, उसने मकान खरीद लिया, तो हमारे साथ मकान टेनेंट के साथ खरीद लिया, और उसने बोला कि तुम मकान खाली करो, हम पैसा देता है। मेरे को नहीं, मकान खाली करने का नहीं है।
Mr. Dattatreya does not want to be uprooted from this house of memories. He is willing to spend for its renovation.
There was a legal thing because they being the tenants, they cannot repair. So things went to the court, and ultimately they got a order from the court that we could support. And we did a very commando action. Like on the Sunday morning, we transferred all our jacks and everything, and we supported the building, and and the landlord was waiting for this action, so he went to the court again, and so ultimately it became a very challenging case, and I was called as a witness to the court because the landlord put a matter as that we have tried to deface the heritage building, and ultimately we are the best people to do it, so the case got dismissed.
City Heritage Center has done the first phase of renovation. They will complete the unfinished task when further funds will be raised.
Congratulations.
थैंक यू। भगवान पर श्रद्धा છે, તમારા જેવા બધા સહકાર છે।
So this is a story of real determination and love for ancestral property, and it really is an example of how determination and love for heritage can do wonders.
Getting involved in the heritage movement has given a sense of mission in Rajiv's personal life and added a new dimension to his business. The challenge is to make the heritage movement economically viable and self-sustaining. City Heritage Center has been commissioned to plan and execute the restoration of BD College into a gold and silver market. It happens to be the single largest investment in the walled city of Ahmedabad. CHC is developing a social enterprise model in which income from cash-intensive projects will be harnessed and invested into impact-intensive areas. Such projects will lead to public-private partnership in heritage revitalization. 10 years after Jagdeep Mehta set up the first bed and breakfast inn, Dipali bought this Haveli from Anupa Mehta and turned it into a splendid French Haveli offering luxurious bed and breakfast facility to tourists.
We came here, we saw the ambience, we saw the Haveli, it had a different character. We really liked the coziness and the space around. And we decided then that it's a nice property and we can move ahead with this. Then Debashish, one of our friends, he just suggested that we should keep this Haveli's name French Haveli, because it had initially been designed and been restored by the French people and French architect. So there's a lot of French history associated with this Haveli, so we kept the name French Haveli. And we thought that, you know, building bed and breakfast in the old city with such a nice property, it would really forward my goal of, you know, doing whatever I wanted to do.
So there is a very minute distinction between being a good property and being a very good property. So that was one decision we took from the day one, that this property should be so good that anybody walking in should like this property or should literally fall in love with this property. The central courtyard, which is the soul of a Haveli, was covered. We opened it and put a very nice awning, so which can be opened and closed, so we have ventilated that space. Also, the courtyard was having a lot of partitions, so we opened the partitions.
And wanted to give them the feeling that they are still living in the old city with the Indian tradition. So keeping the Indian tradition in mind, we selected those kind of colors which are more vibrant and bright. So, you know, we went for color schemes like yellow, red, green, blue.
This property is designed in just 100 square meters, and it is so comfortably designed with all these small cozy rooms around. So once you come in this Haveli, you feel a difference of the temperature, the airiness, the light. So it's a very eco-friendly Haveli.
It's just like giving a vision to people that we can still have our tradition and we can still have modern ways of facilities, modern ways of living.
I have collected now many of these visiting card of many people in Ahmedabad who have taken heritage as their profession. That shows how people have taken it as a serious business, and auto rickshaw driver, the young people, the heritage club, heritage writing people. So now we have many people who are taken heritage as their profession.
What we are doing over here is creating a pilot project where three things which we are focusing. One is the economics. The other thing is that if we just try to restore one property and do nothing in the surroundings, so we have to look at the whole as an ecosystem. And the third thing is that as an entrepreneur or as an enterprise, we do a lot of innovations and creativity. So there is a confluence of three things: the economics, ecosystem and enterprise. So that's what we are doing as a pilot project.
So Ahmedabad is the first Indian city to get into the tentative list of the World Heritage UNESCO. So it is a long journey, but process has started.
Tourist, pilgrim, historian, artist, architect, art lover, musician, investor, and above all, the visionary entrepreneur. It takes everybody to build a vibrant heritage movement in the city. Ahmedabad has shown the way.